Hello and welcome to The Source, where we use data and technology to drive healthcare innovation. Today we're highlighting solutions that help leverage data for better health outcomes. My question to the group, what is needed to set up a data management team and who is important in the conversation? And third part, how do they all interact?
A data management team, they're really focused on the art of collecting, organizing, and accessing data to support productivity, efficiency, and decision-making. So it's not just taking data and putting it in a warehouse and then hoping for the best with your data analyst. It's being really thoughtful about how data analysts will access that data, be able to glean results out of it. And then the data analyst is gathering, cleaning, and interpreting that data to answer questions and to solve problems.
The most successful customers are people that have at least one dedicated resource on the data management side, but it's often a team of folks, depending on, of course, the size and scale of the customer. But without someone dedicated to ensuring that data is making it to us, you can't do anything, right? If the data doesn't make it to us in the way it's supposed to consistently, then you're not going to be able to garner any meaningful insights from that data.
If you haven't prioritized a data management team, you're not going to be sufficiently staffed or prepared for like future technology, even outside of, the things that Arcadia does.
Given the complexity of data sources in healthcare, how can healthcare enterprises align disparate data sources and assorted EHRs across a network to ensure cohesive, actionable intelligence?
This is the task of like inventory and like house cleaning, because I'm like analogy crazy, but sort of treating it like a house renovation project and being like, where are we going to start? Where like people first walk into our house and they're going to go to our kitchen. That's where we're going to start. So prioritizing your data sources, whether it's by this is where most of our doctors are working or our patients reside or our patient information is. The spare guest bedroom is not going to be the first thing we renovate when we're trying to think about like hosting a party. So
Console is the tool where we do that in Arcadia. And what we're looking at here on the screen is Arcadia Console. And this is really going to be the home page, the landing dashboard for your data management teams, so that they can understand the health of your data and understand what data sources you're bringing in and check to make sure that they are being processed by Arcadia as expected. To kind of pull the thread on Jessi's house building analogy, this is a view if you were remodeling your house of kind of the project plan of everything that you put together and everything that you've decided to remodel in your house. This is a view of where you're at and how you're doing in the project plan.
Many healthcare leaders want to rely on their data, but are unsure if they can trust it. What is a trusted data asset, and how would you go about building one? Jessi, I have a feeling you might have another house analogy, but...
I do. We need to define what high quality data is, right? So if there is any mistrust, you need to define, like, are these edge cases? Or is your data like completely like scrambled eggs? You haven't ordered the food or any of the party supplies because you're like obsessed with your junk drawer and you're just like, we can't have people come over, we can't have the party because the junk drawer is a mess. And it's like, that doesn't matter. There's like a whole host of things that we can be doing. And that's like patient care and outreach and making sure people are getting doctor's visits and people who don't have the right transportation or are living in their car or don't have food insecurities. Like we're doing the work to do outreach to those people to make sure that population is served appropriately with the right type of medical care. The data that you have and the data that you can use, what purpose does it serve? And that's the conversation that we should be focused on while we try to figure out how we can make data as crisp as possible.
So to level set again, we're looking at Arcadia's data health tab on Arcadia Console. So again, really going to be that nerve center for your data management team so that they can not only get a pulse on what data is coming in, But when there are issues, because healthcare data is messy, there's inevitably going to be issues. How do we troubleshoot those and get them resolved as soon as possible? You can really easily filter to source type. So if you wanted to focus on your clinical sources, your plan sources, or other, you can also filter to complete, incomplete, and inactive. So as a data manager, maybe I only want to look at my completed data sources. So in other words, the ones that are live, so I can focus on the health of those. Whereas maybe I am a project planner or a contractor, to use our renovation analogy, I want to see what's coming up. I could use my incomplete data sources to see that. This is scratching the surface, but within each of these data sources, you can dig in and see each of the components that we are expecting from that specific data source. We track inbound and we track ingress of each of these individual components from a data source. Another thing to point out really quickly is this term mapper as well. During your implementation process, we'll do some automation of the term mapping. So things we know for sure should map together, like ICD-9 and ICD-9, because they're the same term, they will automatically be mapped. But we'll also present to you suggested mappings as well, especially pertaining to that clinical data and the activity of bringing clinical and claims data together. That helps your organizations feel like you're building that trusted data asset that you're going to draw insights and draw value from down the line.
We've talked a lot about how we build a trusted data asset. So with that said, what possibilities are available for the end user and/or analysts when they have access to trusted data?
Overall, I'll say that the most exciting thing that Nick talked about with our console product, to be able to have this dashboard, the self-service dashboard, to understand, like, okay, did all my things get in there? And the reason that people like to use Arcadia is because we have that we've labeled Vista. We have these insights that do a really nice job of giving you the state of your organization. It's an entire library of everything from ED visits, all the things that you would think of, like ED visits or wellness, to social determinants of health.
Yeah, there's so much cool stuff in Vista. Our insights team pushes out all these epic dashboards. We're basically normalizing the 12 different ways you categorize your A1Cs or your housing insecurity into one unified term, so you can actually analyze that across all your sources, see how it looks across your entire network. We don't want to be a blocker to anyone's success or ability to understand something or do something or otherwise. So let's show you what it looks like, what the state is. If we need to talk about it, we have a unified view to do that. And if it all makes sense and everything looks great, even better, talk to you next week or next month when something, looks wrong or you have a question. But yeah, we don't want to be a blockers for progress. And, we have so many really smart customers with lots of talented people that don't need us getting in the way of their, business objectives or otherwise. So anything we can do to enable that is a big win in my book.
So let's go back for a minute actually on why data management is important. To sum it all up, do you all have any additional notes or success stories that you'd like to share?
Vendor management is like a big important role. Like our partners work with a variety of vendors, and we're very vendor friendly. We like hanging out with other vendors. When we talk about data management, it's not just purely like thinking about the raw data and transferring over to your vendor to like synthesize and do all this cool stuff and then create these like really great digestible insights. But it's coming up with like a long game strategy too, of like, who is in your network? How are you going to run your business? What are the rules for engagement for like the devices that you're going to use? How are you going to interact with your customers? I mean, it's everything from like telemedicine to what EMR you choose, like what clinical source you use, what hospital you're connected to, what lab vendor you choose to work with. So data management's like a real serious topic in terms of making sure that not only you're fully staffed, but the awareness goes well beyond like file transfer. Arcadia does amazing things with grabbing that data and aggregating it and making it self-serviceable. But, just thinking broadly, thinking of the big picture and trying to break the mold of, health systems from the past and how to make your data actionable.
Through the great examples provided by our speakers, it is very evident that there are tools out there to help you leverage data to close care gaps, reduce medical costs. So thank you, Nick, Jessi, and Stephanie for leading the conversation on this valuable topic. However, the learning does not stop here. To see more of what Arcadia can do, you can schedule a demo. And for details on our next episode, quality management, keep an eye out on your email for how to register. So thanks again for tuning into The Source, where data drives healthcare innovation, and we will see you at the next episode.